Hello and welcome to
Absolute Game Off.
We are your non-geek, non-nerd hosts, Salt and Pepper. And with us today we have Tyler from Pockets Full of Comics. Rohan, tell us more about our lovely guest.
So I first heard about Tyler because Mike from Lunch Money hit me up one day and was like, this is now a little while ago. And he's like, hey, I got reached out to by a guy that came into a bunch of Golden Age comics, I think, from his grandpa. And anyways, he's got a cool story. You should have him on your podcast. So I reached out to Tyler then. Obviously, life is busy. Things were happening, right? We finally were able to kind of get something on the books for obviously today. So Tyler's with us today. Tyler, we're going to hear all about that story here in just a sec. But Tyler, how you doing?
Sure. Good. How are you guys?
Good. Awesome. So I know you have started a YouTube channel, and we will talk about that as well today, kind of documenting the story so far. But take us through, assume anyone watching has not seen your channel. What is your origin story? So even if there is something before the grandpa, what is your kind of origin story when it comes to comics?
Yeah, for sure. So when it comes to comics, it really is very new. I've always collected cards. So I've been a big card collector for a while.
Is that sports cards or Marvel cards we talking about?
Star Wars cards mainly, Harry Potter cards. So that's one thing to know about me. My two favorite things are Star Wars and Harry Potter. So like top two, hands down, that's what I like to collect. So those are where I started for sure.
We have people that don't agree with the Star Wars at all, and they like the first Star Trek. So I'm glad we outnumber this one person tonight.
For the record, I actually don't even. The only Star Trek I've ever seen is the two newer movies with Chris Pine. So I'm not. I can't say that I'm a Star Trek guy, but I love the original three Star Wars. From there, I think it's been a lot of crap. I do like Rogue One, but that's about it.
Okay.
But we could have that discussion on another occasion. We're here to talk about you, Tyler. Okay, so then what, you're a card collector of Star Wars, I honestly didn't even know they had Harry Potter cards, to be honest, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised, like they have cards.
They do. I brought a couple because I had a feeling you were going to be like, I don't know anything about Harry Potter cards. But like, so these are the ones that I like. They're the art box cards. So these cards are autoed and they're super sweet cards. And
what years are these? Is this one from? I can't read it, obviously.
This one is 2004. So most of them are right in that range, 2003 to 7.
Now, I have a bit of knowledge in the Marvel card game. Is it similar where they have like one of ones and out of 10s and out of 25s and things like that?
They do have some numbered ones, but most of them are prop cards, like Harry Potter's wand in the movie, like there's a chunk of it. Yeah, exactly. I don't have any of those because those go for like multiple thousands of dollars. Cool. So, but if it's an auto card and it's a Harry Potter autograph card and I can pick it up for under $100, like I buy every one of them that are on eBay. If they're under $100, I buy them. Like, so that's kind of where I don't go too crazy with it. But
what about the Star Wars cards? What do those ones look like?
So Star Wars, like 1977.
Yeah, that original set.
The original ones. So I actually, funny story, I went to a card show here, and one of my favorite things to do is open those 1977's packs, which is wild because they're super expensive. I went to a card show and I found some packs from a guy, which very rare do you find those sealed packs and they're legit. I bought them. I went home. I opened them up on a different YouTube channel I have called Pockets Full of Cards, basically. Pockets Full of Wax is the name. I very rarely upload to it, but I opened them on that channel, and I opened a Luke #1 pack fresh, and it was dead centered. It was perfect. It was awesome.
And you graded it?
Yes, and I graded it, and it graded an SGC 9.5, so the highest SGC graded Luke #1 that was out there. So I bought that pack at that card show for $75, and I sold that card for $6,000, basically, like trade and everything.
Yeah,
so
it
was wild.
do you follow Aoki's Card House, Steve Aoki's card?
I do.
You seen those videos he dropped when he went through? He got that entire set in PSA 10, and he goes through the prices of each.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, that is crazy.
He bought all those fairly recently through Heritage off that auction. They all went and they went for wild prices. I had bids on a ton of them, but I lost them all.
I just because I'm not into. I like just seeing it's cool to learn about that stuff. And so when he
Yeah.
went through, he's like, I paid this one was $10,000 and this one was 12, et cetera. I was like, damn. But it's cool to like see and be like, I didn't know that set goes for a lot. But no, that's awesome. I'm curious,
For sure.
since you brought it, like, why did you go SGC and not PSA?
Because I didn't think it was going to go above a PSA 8. So actually, no. Sorry. I messed up the story. I left out a big portion of it. I did go PSA. Sorry.
Okay.
I went PSA. It graded an 8. I cracked it. It went SGC 9.5.
Oh.
So a PSA 8's like $1,000 card.
Yeah.
I cracked it, went SGC 9.5, and everybody on like this Star Wars card forum I was with was just like losing their minds. They were actually frustrated that I went up that full grade and a half, because then they're like, what are these grading companies even doing? So
well, now PSA owns SGC, so
right. So
yeah.
that was the real story. I kind of left that part out, but yeah, that was a pretty neat thing that happened recently. But with comics, I just, I had read maybe 1 or 2 Archie comics when I was a kid at my grandmother's house, and this was probably 25 years ago, and that was it. I had never picked a comic up until 6 months ago, and then now I have a lot of them. I'm grading them. I dove deep into all the YouTube channels. I clean and press comics now. Like, I don't know, man, dude. I dove in hard, like really hard.
Well, okay, so
I love it.
Talk us through what exactly happened at that 6 months ago time period.
So 6 months ago, I was over at my grandfather's house, and he was talking about he had a water leak in a pipe in his kitchen into the basement, and he had to throw out some of his collectibles from when he was a kid. And I was like, oh, that's not ideal, and what were they? And he said they're comic books. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know anything about comic books, but let's go check it out. And did you move them? Did you get them up on shelves?
And I'd say, like, you as someone with knowledge of cards having value, you probably were like, comics obviously have some value to them.
For sure. And then he was like, they were from when I was a kid. And I was like, well, let's go down. And he can't go down into his basement anymore because he can't walk down there. But I said, I'll go down there, and I just want to pull them all up and just look at them. He's like, yeah, feel free. So I went down there, pulled them all up, brought them up to his living room, and him and I sat down and went through everything. And actually, the first one I pulled out, and the first comic book he gave me, I'll take it down so you can see it.
Origin of Superman.
And so, mind you, like, I don't know anything about comic books at this point, but I know a lot about Superman, and I was like, okay, pulled this out, and I was like, I'm going to look it up on eBay. I knew how to comp cards, so
yeah,
I comped this, and I'm like, that's like $1,000 plus comic book. And he's like, well, why don't you take it home and do some research and whatever. So I did. And we have a comic book shop near me, and I've only been there one time, and it was with this book. I took this in just carrying it, like it wasn't bagged and boarded, nothing. And I got some pretty funky looks, like, okay. And I was like, I found my grandfather's comic collection. To be honest, they weren't overly nice. So I was just like, I haven't went back.
I wouldn't expect them to be.
I'm like a first impression guy. They kind of treated me like, a guy carrying in this comic with it not being bagged and boarded.
Yeah.
And that was kind of how it went. So I haven't been back, but so that's where it started. And then I went over to his house for the next 2 months, almost every other night or whenever I could. And I actually, when I went into that comic store, my whole point was to buy bags and boards because none of the books in his collection were bagged and boarded. They were just in old bankers boxes. And I bought like 200 bags and boards. Got back to his
real quick,
house.
did you know that you had to buy Golden Age bags?
Nope. And I got all the way back to his house with all Silver Age bags and boards. And not a single. I tried stuffing that first one in there, and none of them would fit. And
they knew you had that Golden Age Superman. They couldn't even say, like,
nobody even offered to help me, like, around the store. It was weird. I haven't been back because of that. Like,
so just as an aside, JP and I we haven't much recently, but like in a lot of previous, we've discussed this concept of like, there's these older kind of guard, I guess you could say, in the comic book dealer space.
Curmudgeons.
These old curmudgeons that just like are grumpy, and they just sound like these guys who own the shop that you walked into.
Pretty much. And it was not a great experience. So yeah, so I took those 200 Silver Age bags and boards and I didn't take them back because I didn't go back. I just kind of put them down in the corner, figured that maybe some of these books would fit, and got on Amazon and ended up ordering 200 Golden Age bags and boards, and started with that. And then I realized really quickly, like, I didn't have even remotely close to enough. So ordered a bunch more. And over the next few months, I sat at his kitchen table and I bagged and boarded all 750. That's the total. There were 750 comics in his collection, and every one of them was Golden Age. I bagged and boarded all 750 of them, and I don't even know what bags and boards cost me, but it was multiple $100, to do that, and just protected them. And spent that time he knew everything still about these books. Like, he remembered reading them, and he would tell me, like, which ones were his favorites and just stories about these books, which was really cool. So super valuable time I got to spend with him. And then, at the end, I told him, I said, hey, there's quite a bit of value here. I don't want to say that I should take them, but I have a lot of interest in them. I will protect them. I want to do this thing called grading. I want to grade the higher end ones, and just make sure that, they're protected for the future. And he gave me probably 5 books every time I went over there, for a couple months. That's how we started.
Now,
And,
real quick, I want to ask, and
yeah.
I don't want to assume anything, but like, are
Yeah.
you, prior to this event, are you and your grandfather like close? Do you go over there often? Like,
We are. My grandfather was a college softball coach, so growing up, he was always gone. Softball tournaments, like, he's got national titles, and like, he coached, and he was always gone. So I go over there quite a bit. Like, this wasn't I didn't go over there just for that leaky pipe. Like, I was just visiting or whatever, and he mentioned it, and then I went downstairs. So I'd been downstairs a lot, and he has a lot of old stuff. Like, so he built his house when he was 17, I think he told me, and he's 86 now, and he's lived in that house ever since, and he does not get rid of things. He stores them pretty well, but he doesn't get rid of them. So he's got a lot of really cool stuff down there. So I originally loved his, like, Star Wars stuff. He has some Star Wars toys down there from my father, and even some of his stuff. And he gave me all the Star Wars toys and all his toys too, so I found a bunch of that in previous years before that. But I never even really knew he had all these comic books. I just thought they were banker boxes full of papers, because he keeps everything. I mean, he has banker's boxes full of papers. Yeah, exactly. So I didn't know what was in them, and they weren't labeled really well or anything. And he told me, and we kept going through them and talking about them. And I started YouTube and stuff because I really wanted to learn about them. I knew a lot about card collecting, and I didn't know anything really about comics. So I was like, all right, well, I'm the type of personality, when I find something like, that I don't know anything about, I dive pretty deep. And that's where I found Mike with Lunch Money Comics. He was the first YouTube channel that I found when I typed in comic book collecting, if you will. So I started watching his channel, and then I just like dove deep into his channel. I found him on Instagram, hit him up, and I'm like, hey, I just want to ask some questions, because I don't know a single person around me. I still don't, in my area, that collects comic books. So really,
that's like all of us. That's why we all are on the internet. None of us know people in 3D.
Right?
What area are you in?
Yeah. So I was like, I got to find somebody. I'm in the Midwest. So I live in Iowa.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got the KC shirt on.
I didn't have anybody really talk to me. I'm a Chiefs fan for sure. I'm not from Kansas City. We go quite a bit, but
yeah,
that's where Ryan's from.
So
KC,
that's how I met Mike.
Yeah, and so let me ask: in the 750 comic books that you've now bagged and boarded, is that Superman 50? Is it 53? Am I right on that? 53.
Yeah, 53. Yep,
53. Yeah. Or
yep.
Was that the biggest one, or like what other kind of bangers we got in there?
I pulled a few out of my favorites. So I just got this one back from CGC last week. I just made a video on this one. This is the Marvel Mysteries 92.
Oh yeah, cool.
This is the final issue in that run. So that was the first appearance of Witness. So that was a cool one. The probably 2 that everybody that I've talked to or met that everyone wanted, that like the first thing everyone asked me, they're like, oh, can I have those? I want to buy those Captain Americas, or what are you doing with those Captain Americas? So this Captain America 70, this is one of Mike's favorite ones. Was pretty sweet. That one's not a first appearance. and then the Captain America 66, which was the first appearance of Golden Girl.
Cool. Now I want to ask, since you said your
Those are some
grandpa
of the
was
big
talking,
ones.
since you're saying your grandpa was telling you about each of the books, and what you said he mentioned what his favorites were. I'm just curious, what were those favorites?
All Westerns. He just loved
Oh.
Westerns. So his favorites were, he didn't care. He definitely did not like horror, but he has horror. But let's see, I can pull a couple out. He really loved just Westerns and war, like some of these battle actions, like these old war comics. But Westerns he liked a lot. He loved the Lone Ranger. I mean, if anybody's looking to fill Lone Ranger runs, like
Hit
I
up
got Lone
Tyler.
Rangers like crazy, but yeah, they're out there. I don't know. Westerns are his thing, not mine, 100%. But one that I pulled out that he loved that is not that valuable of a comic, but it's probably going to mean a ton to me someday when he's not here is this. Have you guys ever heard of Francis the Talking Mule?
No.
It's the weirdest thing. It's so strange. So he had a bunch of these like funny books or whatever. So I pulled this out and I was like, what's Francis the Talking Mule, you know? So he gets on YouTube and pulls up Francis the Talking Mule, the TV show. It was a TV show back then. It's legit like the corniest real life mule talking and like chasing down crime. Like it's wild. So we sat there and we watched Francis the Talking Mule for an hour. Like, so obviously this thing's worth like nothing and I almost got it graded just because I love it. But
that's great. That's great. No, I love that.
he really liked the Western stuff. Yeah, super cool.
I'm curious
but
now.
He liked the superhero stuff for sure.
Going back to you knew who Superman was. Did you have knowledge though of like, I know you didn't know, you said you didn't know much about comics, but like with MCU and Batman movies and things like that, were you into those at all?
Yeah, for sure. I've watched all of them. My favorite for sure is Aquaman. So the town that I grew up in, actually, BJ Ralph, the Superman. Do you remember that one? I think it's BJ. Yeah. So he grew up like 5 houses away from me. So like Superman one of the Supermans came from my town. And then, alongside of that, Aquaman, Jason Momoa went to the same high school as me. So like, I have to like Superman and Aquaman, obviously, so.
So which Superman came from your
Jason
town?
Momoa is here like always. BJ Ralph, I believe it was BJ Ralph, or Ralph was his last name. Brandon Ralph.
Brandon Ralph,
no, Brandon Ralph. Yeah, so he was the Superman Returns.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, see, I should be more familiar with it than I am. Like, I'm terrible at remembering things, but yeah, Brandon lived like 5 houses down. He's way older than I was, but yeah, so he grew up really close to me, and then Jason Momoa obviously as well. So they all went to the same high school as me. So that's kind of our claim to fame, Aquaman and
two of the
Superman.
biggest DC characters, without Batman. I mean, Ben Affleck's gonna live near you too as well, I would assume. I got to with those guys. That's crazy.
Yeah, small town Iowa, and we got Superman and Aquaman. It's kind of wild. So I definitely knew.
I'm curious. Was Jason Momoa the same year? Was Jason Momoa the same year as you in high school?
He would have been a senior as I was like an 8th grader. So he would have been graduating right before I went into high school. But I remember him because I had some older stepbrothers that played soccer. He was like into soccer, and I know he was big into like the choir and all that stuff at our school. He was really big in like the shows and obviously, acting and whatnot. So yeah, he's kind of a big deal around here. He comes and visits a lot, eats breakfast at a place that we all eat breakfast at. So I need to get his autograph sometime on a comic book. He's here all the time.
That's cool.
But that being said, that's the comic book I'm chasing. I need to get to buy is some Aquaman comics. But
so let me ask you this now. So you started getting these comics from your grandfather. You're diving deep into the YouTube hole about trying to learn as much as you can. What is your kind of goal to do with these books that you're getting from your grandfather? Are you like, is the end goal to flip them for Star Wars cards? Or, I mean, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I think that I'm going to grade pretty much everything that's worth like $500+. I'll grade all of those books, or that I think are, going to grade really high. And I'll just start collecting them. I mean, I really like the comic book community. Like, I know I've watched the Comic Collector Geek that you guys interviewed him, Alan. Like, Alan was so great to me and had a fun conversation with him. Mike and Brandon with Mon Comics, like those guys, honestly, I enjoy their company and the conversations we've had about comic books just as much as everybody that I collect cards with. So I'm going to collect them, all the Westerns and the Disney books. Maybe I'll keep the Disney ones for my kids, but I'll probably let go a lot of the Western ones. Surprisingly, some of those Golden Age Westerns, they're like Stan Lee's in, some of them, or did some of them.
He did a bunch of
some pretty good value that I've
he did like a bunch of horror comics and
Yep.
That was the thing back in those days. I mean, people loved Westerns and they loved war comics, and those have fallen out of favor for our generation. But buddy of mine, his dad passed away, and he brought me a box of his comics, and there was not one superhero comic. There was one, the Superman. Wasn't Golden Age. I guess it's a 10 center, but most of them were Western. And I know nothing about Western comics, except the Stan Lee that you said, and I couldn't tell you which. They all say Stan Lee when you open them up inside there, but I don't know which ones are more valuable and all that stuff. So I need to do some research, but those were big back then.
And so Tyler, I see the Star Wars one behind you. So that obviously did not come from your grandpa's collection because that's not a Golden Age book. Nope. So you said you want to start collecting more now. So where does your interest lie? I'm assuming Star Wars, you want to collect that.
Star Wars for sure. I actually got online and the first thing I did was Google Harry Potter comic books. I was like, there's got to be one, right? Well, there's not. Well, there's one, and I bought it. But it's not even, I don't even know if it's Harry Potter, to be honest with you. I bought it graded in a 9.8, but it was Department of Truth 13. But it's like Voldemort on the cover. So if you know Voldemort from Harry Potter. So I'm going to buy books and I'm going to collect books, things that interest me. But, I think that my future pretty much lies with Golden Age Superman.
Love it.
So there's probably 20-ish Golden Age Superman books in this collection. Yellow cover, and then Wonder Woman. Those are probably the two that I'll really focus on. Besides that, I don't know. I have full freedom from him to like trade and create, make the collection my own if I want. I have done some of that a little bit. And then obviously 750 books, and I would say 200 of them are grading candidates, total, but that's a ton of money that I'm not going to like just put in. So I did sell some of the like romance and good girl books to Alan, the Comic Collector Geek. He gave me a really good deal there and a lot of knowledge. And we talked on the phone for like 4 hours, just telling me like, him and I sat down with all 750 books and I just showed him a book and he told me what pile to put it in. And then I redid that with like a couple other guys because they're like, oh, Alan's going to be hard on those books. He doesn't care about Westerns, but that's a Stan Lee Western. Put that over here, So just trying to really soak it in and learn and meet people. But I think every superhero book that I have will get graded because they're all Golden Age superhero and they're all pretty nice. So yeah, that's kind of, I don't know, my plan. I've just kind of been nice to the people that were nice to me getting into the hobby, like Brandon, him and I, like he helped me out with some YouTube stuff because I hadn't really done a lot of YouTube, and I gave him a couple books that I knew he would really enjoy. Just sent them over to him. And then Mike with Lunch Money Comics, same thing, Mike shouted me out on his channel, and the next morning I woke up and I had like 400 subscribers more the next morning. And I was like, wow. So yeah, I just, collect them, create my own collection, and I probably will get rid of a decent amount of the Disney and funny books and some of that, just because I don't need 750 books sitting here. I'd rather have 400, that I really love. So
and what is the draw to both Superman and Wonder Woman that you said that those you think that's what you're going to chase down?
The yellow covers. I just think they're like, and probably two of the cleanest books that were in that collection, or two of the cleaner books. Like, I just think like Wonder Woman 39, like, I just think that's so cool.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the Superman yellow books as well. Now I'm curious, will you also then collect Action Comics or just specifically the Superman title?
I think just specifically the Superman title, because I have a few Action Comics, and like this one's my grandfather's, so I'll collect that one. But I think I'll probably start with just the Superman titled ones. But like this one, there's only 24 of these on the census. Like
I was just gonna say, I'm not trying to offend anyone here. I imagine that may be a desirable copy because of it's
for sure.
off-putting and triggering to a certain dynamic of folk, and therefore some people want to collect it, I bet.
Yep. And I've noticed that with a fairly decent amount of the covers, but
yeah.
I mean, just keep showing some that I have. Like he's got kind of a wide variety, like sensation, detective. I've got 5 detective comics at CGC right now. I've just been kind of, grading them as I go and try not to put too much of my own money in. I'll sell a couple books here and there, cover all my grading fees, and really kind of build the collection without spending money, which is really ideal, I guess.
Ideal, right? Yeah. Where are you going to sell these?
So I tried my comic shop. I sold like 3 comics on there that I didn't like, and not that I didn't like, sorry, that just weren't, in line with what I was going to keep. And 2 of them were bought, and they're still sitting there, not being paid for. So I don't have any of the money from that. So thought that was interesting. It's like, there's $280 in my comic shop that is sitting there that we sold, but I didn't get paid yet. So it's taking a little bit longer. So I don't know. I think eventually maybe I'll send some graded ones off to Heritage. But really it's just been people on Instagram reaching out if they want to trade or buy them, or, like guys like Brandon or Mike, if they want a specific book they've seen or they want to trade for something. I've kind of let them know what I'm interested in, like, hi, I'm a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy. I want the first group book. Like that's the big one I'm going to chase.
The Astonishing Tales.
Yeah, Tales to Astonish. Is it 13?
13, I think. 13. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll probably be the first big one that I get. That's like, a pretty valuable book that wasn't gifted to me, of course. So
I'm curious, since we're kind of talking about that, are you aware of the 35-cent variant of the Star Wars one?
I have seen it or heard of it, but I don't really know a lot about it.
In those couple of years in the Bronze Age, like Marvel Comics wanted to test out raising the prices on some of their books. So they were at the time 30 cents. And so they picked a few titles and they said, oh, we're going to put 35 cents. And they only tested them out in a couple like regions of the country. And so those 35-cent book covers are people collect them. But by far and away, the most valuable 35-cent copy book is Star Wars 1. So there's a Star Wars 1 35, and I mean, it goes for thousands. Like, I mean, it is expensive. Yeah, like the next most valuable one is Iron Fist 14, which is the first appearance of Sabretooth. After that, it's kind of like random run filler books, but those 2 books, I mean, they are crazy expensive.
Really? That's good to know.
Yeah.
Got to be the hardest thing to search long boxes for is the 35-cent variants, because you're flipping through 200 books at a time. I can look through and find Mark Jewelers, which I never find Mark Jewelers, only like 5 in all of my hunting. But you can tell because there's a black board in the middle. But the 35% variants, because they put them in different sections for the cost sometimes. So like they're all over the place depending on the age of the books and whatnot. So I always forget to look. Maybe that's my own problem, but I just find that to be hard to look for because you're flipping and you're trying to lift up if the box is real tight, so like I don't know. I just find like I've never found a 35-cent variant of anything because I don't know which ones to look for, like Star Wars 1. Yeah, that's easy. If I find a Star Wars 1 in a box, I'm picking it up no matter what.
No matter what. Right.
Or an Iron Fist 14, but like other ones, it's like, I forgot to look for that. I'm looking for Mark Jewelers and other keys, and I'm sure I passed over a bunch of 35 centers, but it's again, I'm looking at a Spidey Super Stories I have. They both say 35 cents on them. I don't know if that's a variant. I don't think so. They finally did make them 35 cents. So how do I know when the time frame was that it was just a test run? That's all. I know you can find it online, but it's like as you're flipping quickly, can you? Oh, that's the era of them testing it. So, but
yeah, and just on that, they did a couple of. It wasn't just Star Wars 1. Like I think Star Wars 2 has a 35-cent variant, and I think maybe another one or two.
There's a ton of variants too with Star Wars. They have the Whitman variants that they have the some of them have the newsstand in them, but they're have a diamond for the letter for the pricing. Others have just straight a white box, nothing in there. Instead of the UPC, it's just white and it has the diamond. So there's like 10 different variants of that Star Wars 1.
Yeah,
I've seen.
I
definitely want to know what they are before you overpay for one that's not. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely need to do some more research before I buy another. But
I just did a quick, just as you guys were talking there, a quick eBay search just to check. There's one 35-cent variant, a 9.0 graded, and it's listed at 23,000.
Whew, boy, wow.
Yeah, but I know I think I've seen like mid-ish grade ones go for like 5,000 to 7,000. So yeah, it's a pricey book if you find one.
Book. Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, you asked kind of like more about. Oh, let's see if I can find them here. About like what kind of future collecting for me is. So I did decide, since I inherited all these from my grandfather, I was like, I want to leave some that I know my kids will like. And I know they probably aren't going to like Westerns, or whatever, the Golden Age stuff. So I did start buying some. My kids love Spider-Man. So I think I'm going to go for the Spider-Man run, the Silver Age run, and just all raw books. So I started buying a bunch,
nice.
just off of Instagram, and trading for a few.
Yeah, 41's a great book.
Yeah, so I'm just picking up some of the good ones, and like this. I got this from
66. My favorite Mysterio cover. That's one of my favorite Spider-Man covers.
I saw this and I was like, I gotta have that book. It's such a cool cover. So.
Yeah, it's excellent.
And then somebody gave me this one in a trade.
Oh yeah, good one for Christmas time.
So that is a funny thing. My birthday is on Christmas, so that's going to be one direction I head are Santa Claus comics. I've been picking them up every time I see them. So yeah, if you find cool Santa Claus comics, buy them and I'll trade you for them.
I got two you could look for. You can find one of them pretty cheap. They had an original version of it 2 years ago. It's the Joker and the crying kid on his lap. You can buy the variant cover, and then they just redid the cover for like $3. Buy the one for $3. Don't buy the one for $30. And then there's a cool Punisher one as well. That he's sitting in Santa Claus's chair. He's got the hat on and everything like that. I'll send you pictures of them. I have my stack of all my Halloween covers, which I have more than enough Halloween books, but I have like 5 or 6 good Christmas ones. There's not as many as the Halloween that I found,
right.
So I'll send you the ones I got. So
yeah, please do. I don't know if you guys know him. Do you know Lyle Hobson? He's on Instagram.
What is his Instagram name? Lyle Hobson.
He's always on YouTube commenting on Comic Collector Geek's channel and stuff. And his Instagram's name is Lyle Hobson, but he's a collector who's always on Comic Collector Geek, like commenting. And he messaged me, and he's like every week sends me a new Santa Claus one. So I'm gonna start picking some of those up. And they're cheap, so it's nice. But yeah, so I did bring 4 books that I had to show you because I just think these are so cool. And
I'll show you real quick before these ones here, just so you can. Bizarre Adventures.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's one
for sure.
Here's Bone. I'm not sure if you can see that one all right, but Bone's a good one. Jeff Smith.
Awesome.
These will all be on Instagram sooner or later. Holiday special. Let's see, just 2 more. There's the Punisher.
That's cool.
And then this is the one you can get cheaper. I paid way too much for this, but I love this cover.
That's sweet. For sure.
So find a cheaper version of it and you'll be good.
Yeah, send me those. I'll probably pick them all up, to be honest.
But what were we going to show there?
Yeah, let's see what you got.
Yeah, these just came back in that last CGC submission that's on my channel that I opened up, and these are the 4 Jackie Robinson comics that were in there.
Oh,
so that's
cool.
Jackie Robinson #1, which I didn't even know they were sports comic books, which I thought was really cool. I played sports my whole life and, love it. So Jackie Robinson #1, and then Jackie Robinson #2.
I've never seen these. I knew there are sports comics, but I didn't know there were these. I didn't know these ones.
There's a Jackie Robinson I think it's called Negro Heroes #2. That he's on the cover of that one. It's a pretty pricey book. But I didn't know he had his own series like that. That's pretty sweet.
He's got his own series, and it's 1 through 6 is all that they are. But most of them have like him on the back as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. It's like a baseball card on the back.
Yeah, so that's Jackie Robinson 5. But my favorite one that came, and probably the coolest thing I found, and everybody keeps telling me it's pretty rare. You look it up, and the pricing is hard to really tell. But like when Alan looked at it, Alan's like, "That's my favorite book that you had," or "That's the rarest book." And I'm like, "Really? It doesn't show that when I look on GPA analysis or anything, And he goes, "Well, don't go by that. It's probably the rarest." But so this was Jackie Robinson #6. It came back a 5.0 white pager, but it's a double cover. So
there you go. Yeah, that's why. Yep.
He said like Golden Age double covers are just really sought after and rare, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. It's Jackie Robinson, and it's nice."
It's like that's a cool book to have a double cover in.
Did CGC put the note on there that says double cover?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, okay. They put it right there. Yep. So it's double
cover.
I have
never found a double cover. I mean, I think that's an amazing thing to find.
I thought it was the weirdest thing.
Hard to find, but like double cover.
Yeah, and I mean the most I've seen is a 7 cover.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah. So double cover 5, Jackie Robinson #6. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I was pretty excited to have it. But so yeah, there's just, I mean, I'm still going through it and learning, and there's just so many different things in the collection. I mean, it was everything from sports to superheroes to Good Girl to Disney to funnies to horror,
Any of those Good Girls left, or did you give them all to Alan? Sell them all to Alan?
No, there's still a decent amount left. He set out a pile of like 150, and I don't know, I probably sent him 30, so total.
JP's in. He wants them.
I like the Golden Age Good Girl books.
I do have those.
Dave Stevens fan, so it kind of came from, that's where he got a lot of his what do you call it? It's the word Rohan. He got all his inspiration from the Golden Age, from Matt Baker, Joe Doolin, those guys.
Yeah, he bought like a Teenage Romances, Matt Baker, some LB Cool, a couple of them. I researched them all, and he gave me fair prices and stuff, and he bought a decent amount to where it covered like my initial grading. Like I've sent 50 books probably to grade so far, So
that was literally going to be one of my questions. So I mean, you've spent $50. I mean, that's quite pricey. Not to mention if they're Golden Age, you're not setting them in on the what's that lowest bracket? Like
no, they're the expensive ones. Yeah, it's $40 a book or whatever it is. So yeah, it's an investment for sure, but I just wanted to make sure I'm protecting the ones, that are pretty valuable. I don't know if you got, Mike's guy that cleans all his books.
Jeff. Jeff.
Mm-hmm. I'm like on his list of like 500 people that need comics done. So these 5 books are to go to him. So I really want to get these graded, but I've been holding off cleaning and pressing them because I want them to go to him.
Yeah, and he's got like a 6-month wait list.
And that's what he told me. He's like, yeah, in 6 months, or whatever. Or I'll ask him, and he's like, yeah, you're number 452. And I'm like, all right, I'll just put them up in the.
Well, the good thing is CGC right now is making bananas out of books and things like that. So you got some time while they work out some kinks.
For sure. I thought about just stopping in whole, especially with those Jackie Robinson books, because like I still might crack these and go PSA just because the sports
that's
theme,
true.
Like sports, Jackie Robinson comic, PSA, when they try it, I'm like, those would probably be 4 good candidates, but we'll see. I don't know. I just don't want to damage them any further, so I'm like, it's worth it for me to grade them. But
something that PSA should have would be cracking them for you, because I think that's
I mean, I'm sure every grader has crossover services, so I'm sure PSA will too once they open up.
But they probably don't take the liability, which is what's the point? It's like saying, I'm an electrician, but I take no liability if like your power doesn't work. Well, that's your job. I don't know why you can't. If you can put a book in a encapsulate, you can take it out of there.
Well, I mean, in that like, I agree with you. Like, it's one thing. I agree when you're saying like, if CGC is cracking their own case, I agree. It's like you guys should have. I'm sure there's like a tool they have that just fucking pops those things right open. But if PSA is cracking CGC or if CGC is cracking PSA, I understand where they're going to be like, look, this isn't our case. We don't know what could happen, so we're not going to assume liability for that. But I agree with you on the like, if it's the same company.
Yeah, but still, it's kind of like they know how to use the tools.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just another way they could squeeze a few more dollars out of you.
Yeah, another $40.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, no, I continue to go through his basement. I mean, I'm not done. He's got so many cool things, and I just don't want to like.
So you've pulled out 750, and there's still more down there.
There's magazines and there's stuff. I don't think there's more comics. He said he thought this was all, but he knew there was one more box. And what's funny is I've done kind of my research. So I found all of his, like, this was like his log, his comic log with
cool. I think that's right there is pretty cool, right? Is a pretty cool piece of history right there. Especially if it's your grandpa, right? Like, I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's all his handwriting, his name's on it, stuff. Well, then he did everything on note cards too. So he has both things, but so I went through everything and compared what's here in the collection out of the 750 and what's missing. And part of me wanted to cry on some of them because what was in that box that got wet, which he tells me he's pretty sure he threw it away. I'm still kind of looking for it because I don't know if he's 100% sure he threw it away, but the story is he threw it away when it got wet and he was frustrated. But the books that were missing are like, so this note card has 9 different Batman books on it. So, and I didn't find any of those.
Hey, all sub 100 though. I mean, that's something.
Yeah. So it was number 76, number 59, number 48, number 55, number 57, 65, 62, 66, and 70. So I didn't find a single one of those. So I'm like, they had to have been in that box that got ruined. Chamber of Chills, number 16, 17, and number 5. I didn't find those.
He did have 19. Dang.
I know. I did look for that right off the bat because I saw Alan show that book one time.
Yeah, you see 16 and 17, your probably eyes light up. And
I'm like, oh, he's got the run. Nope. Then it went to 5. And then Tales from the Crypt, 33 and 35. He didn't find those. And then some miscellaneous like Western ones that must have been in that box too. So I think I found most of them, but I don't know. Now, you never know down there.
When you say magazines, you talking pulps?
So yes, some pulps, but then what is that magazine that everyone
like Sports
collects?
Illustrated or Playboy?
Like that, but not that one. Neither of those two. It's not super valuable. One of them has a Jackie Robinson card, I think, inside of it. What was that called? You see him at like estate sales and stuff all the time. They're not super valuable, like $5 a piece. I should know this.
Do you say Life magazine?
Life. There you go. That's what it is. Life. He's got like 500-600 Life magazines down there. I haven't even opened those boxes really. I just saw the top and they're super heavy. So
they're oversized magazines too. They're they take up a lot of room, right?
Yeah, they're massive. Yeah, they're just in bankers boxes down there. So he had the subscription forever and has like every one. So I'm sure he's got the one with that card in it, and it probably hasn't been touched in years. So I'll probably find it for that reason. But yeah, and then he's got just really cool stuff. It's so fun to go down there.
I wanted to ask. You said now again, it's not something I collect, but I know JP's into him, and we have another good buddy, Bruce, who's really into him. But you mentioned Star Wars toys earlier. I mean, there's quite a bit of value in those. Did you grab those or?
Yeah, I grabbed most of those. There's still some down there. And there is quite a bit of value in some of those. I don't have like a toy channel, but I figure someday I'll show some of them on the comic channel, because most guys kind of like the same stuff, but
same IP.
Yeah. And like those old like robots in boxes, he has those toys and just a bunch of like even toys that you probably got at like the checkout register that are still in the package. Like I just remember one was called a Whizzer, and I don't even know what it is, but it was a toy and it's still in the package. And he had like 10 of those. I just popped them on eBay and like used the photo thing on eBay to search them. And they were like 60-70 bucks a piece, you know? So he's just got a lot of really cool stuff.
Did
you watch?
Go ahead, JP.
Did you watch Froggy Flips?
Yes, he's one of my favorite YouTube channels. I love Froggy's channel.
He'll tell you all the good toy stuff. Like he sees all kind of rare stuff that you're probably seeing in the basement. So that's pretty cool.
His channel, I've learned so much on that channel. I've kept up. I think I've seen every single video he has, and I watch him weekly. You know, he's definitely one of my favorite YouTubers.
Well, you're close. You're in Iowa, so you're probably, I don't know how far you are to Ohio. You know, I'm sure I could figure it out, but like they have that Columbus Toy Show, which is on the western part to that. That's where he goes to. He's there once a year in the fall, and I'm 6 hours from Columbus, so it should be. It's supposed to be one of the best toy shows in the country.
That'd be sweet. Yeah,
and he'll be there. You know, so you get to meet him too.
Well, and you know, with him, like he's taken off so much, and he's so big. Like I've sent him a couple messages, like because I know some of the things he likes, and like I might have, but I'm sure I'm just lost in like the, you know.
He commented on a Cabbage Patch or a Garbage Pail Kid. I commented on something he put on his page on Instagram, and he commented back to me. And then then I messaged him to get him on our show, and I haven't heard back from him. But he did like my comment and commented on it himself on a Garbage Pail Kid. So because I know that Mad Balls are his favorite.
Yep.
Lawrence loves the Garbage Pail Kids too, JP.
Yeah, no, we talked about it because I found, Adam Bomb. Like, but there's the UK Mini. I don't know if you've seen those before. They're smaller than the real cards.
Yep.
And I didn't know what the value of it was. And I didn't have, like, I remember collecting them as a kid. And then I didn't keep any of them. I probably threw them away. And then I went to a card show and I found the Adam Bomb, or it was a comic show in Ohio. And the guy traded me a Toxic Avenger. I gave him a Toxic Avenger #1 for the Adam Bomb. And I'm like, wait, this is smaller. And he's like, oh, that's a UK Mini. And I'm like, I didn't know what that meant, but I figured if it's original from the 80s,
Yeah, I know that one's obviously, I believe, less valuable, but I don't know the numbers. I haven't. Yeah, I used to check all that stuff too, but
see how much smaller it is?
Oh, yeah, it's small.
Tyler, I wanted to ask, with your grandpa keeping all of this stuff, and as you said, he kept it in fairly good storage. Obviously, he had an incident with a leaking pipe. Did he have any intent with all this stuff that he kept, or is it just he's just not a guy that throws away things?
He's just not a guy that throws away things. Like I honestly don't know if I wouldn't have like brought them up and we went through them together. Like what, like I don't know. He just keeps them all, So like I'll ask him some things. Like, hey, is there any other collectible like you want to look at or that you have? Like I enjoy collectibles and learning about them and whatnot. And he said, do you have any cards? And he goes, no, I never collected cards. Well, then the other day I was over at his house watching the World Series and he goes, I used to love the Dodgers. I think I got a couple Jackie Robinson cards somewhere. And I'm like, you told me you didn't collect any cards. I'm like, what do you mean? So I don't 100% know. You never know with him. So he just doesn't throw things away. I mean, he keeps everything.
But prior to the leak, did you ever find yourself venturing down there and
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and a lot of them are old toys, like Masters of the Universe stuff. Like I'd take and play with those. Like we play with them and just old toys like that. I know he has, oh gosh, just stuff from when we were kids, when my dad was kids, when he was a kid. Like he just didn't get rid of anything. So it's really fun. It's like a little time capsule down there.
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
He was 40 whenever Masters of the Universe came out?
Yeah, probably 40-ish.
So did he collect them, or was he just kept them because they were your dad's?
Kept them because they were my dad's. Yeah, and my dad does not care at all about that.
That was gonna be my next question. Is your dad like getting into this as well, or is it just you and Grandpa?
No, it's just me and Grandpa. Dad would have no interest, other than maybe the value, which is probably why Grandpa enjoys me, because I'm like actually interested in them. I mean, I'm cleaning and pressing them and like spending money on them versus getting money for them. So
right, you're putting them in those nice cases and preserving them. So So
and even like with Alan, when I did that deal with him and sold him some of those Good Girl books, like most of that money went to grading fees, but then you saw the Spider-Man books, like I bought those, and a couple of them were a little bit of money, you know. So I'm trying to keep everything that came from this collection within this collection, whether it's new comic books or it's the cost of grading or what, you know, because I don't know, he gave them to me, and I just want to keep that going on. Yeah.
Now,
that's cool.
Being as you have this experience with your grandfather, you have kids. Are you? Would you?
Yep.
Is there going to be any kind of like? I know you are collecting Spider-Man for them, but are you going to like start kind of like doing the hobby with them at all, or anything? Is that in the plans?
For sure, I'm gonna try to if they would like to. You know, my kids love books, so obviously I'm gonna bring some of these Disney comics up, and we're just gonna read them, you know, and just we'll see. But that's my goal. You know, they'll come down here. I've got my own little room down here. I'm sure that as they grow up, they'll come down and see what I'm doing down here and want to partake. I hope so.
Now,
yeah,
you said down there. I assume so this is a basement.
it is, and I don't have any pipes above me.
I was going to say, are we protected against potential leaking pipes?
We are. The only thing that I had, which I had it covered and then I uncovered it because I'm going to redo this room. But I have a window in this room, and Mod Comics Brandon was like, "Hey, you got to cover that up because that's like glaring on these comics on the wall, and you know UV and this and that." So I'm going to cover that window up. But yeah, I'm kind of working on this room. When I got this, I'm like, "Where am I going to put all these?" When I wanted to start a YouTube channel, I was like, "Where am I going to do that? And how am I going to do that?" So I actually framed in just a room in my basement and kind of just set up.
So actually, let's talk about that real quick before we can kind of start to wrap up here. But after you found the comics, how soon did you start that YouTube channel up, kind of documenting your kind of adventure here?
I would say it was 2 or 3 weeks later. After talking to Mike, I went on a vacation. I was actually in Florida, and Mike called me, and I was like, "That's weird." Like, you know, Mike, I've been watching. He's like pretty popular on YouTube, and why is he calling me? And he called me, and he was telling me he knew a couple guys that wanted to buy the entire collection, which I, you know, appreciated the interest, but that wasn't an intention or what I was looking for. But some people give me some really good offers, and some people give me some really horrible offers, and it was really nice of Mike to reach out and kind of tell me like, "Hey, I've told people your story," and I'm like, "Really? So like people would be interested in this?" And he's like, "Yes." He's like, "You could probably start, and if you did it the right way," which I have not figured that out yet, because he's like, "You could start in your first video, like if you showed the collection the correct way, it would get 100,000 views." You know, well, I never YouTubed before, so I'm like, I don't know how to do the intro. I don't know how to do any of that, you know, but I did start, and my first video got like 5,000 or 6,000 views. And I'm like, well, that's pretty sweet, like really quick. And tons of people reached out, and then I just kind of kept making videos, and I started opening some books and reading some books and then grading them. And yeah, the YouTube thing it's a challenge, but I'm working through it. It's just with kids and with the job, it's like I can do a video on lunch break or late at night or whatever, trying to sneak them in. But
it's that editing that takes up the time, man.
I started avoiding it, and I'm like, "Oh, it's raw. You get it how I filmed it." All right, like
I tell people, there's a reason that JP and I's channel for the most part is this: we just turn on the camera and talk. There's no editing needed. I could not. I don't want to mess with it.
It takes so long, and then like uploading it, just like I live in the country, so uploading it takes so long on my internet that I have to upload it while I'm in town at work, you know, and it's like a thing. And so yeah, it's the YouTube channel comes with the work that people don't 100% realize sometimes, I think, but I really like it because I get to meet people, you know, like you guys and everyone. Like, I enjoy talking collectibles. It doesn't have to be comics, just collectibles.
Yeah, it's fun, exactly, right? Like, again, I mentioned him earlier, but we have this text thread. JP, Mike's on there, a handful of other Brandon's on there, who you know, and Bruce recently has been getting back more into toys. And again, it's not comics, and our thread is mostly comic, but it's like I enjoy hearing about it, learning about it, right? Just like I said, it's a cool video when you see Steve Aoki buy that PSA 10 set, and he's like $8,000, 14,000. You're just like, damn. But it's cool. Sure. It's just fun to always just say, I agree. It's a fun topic to talk about, even if it's not your specific collectible that you go after.
Well,
definitely.
Depending on what you do, like I do a lot at antique stores and flea markets, and if you watch Froggy Flips enough times or other shows, you'll see stuff that's valuable that you might no one else.
Yeah, exactly. You could flip it for something that you want. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So I mean,
I do that a lot. I do the same thing. I went to a garage sale the other day and I found a long box full of comic books that I knew nothing about. Well, there's 250 books in there, and I was like, "How much do you want?" And he said $100. I said, "I have $70," and he's like, "I'll take $70." I was like, "Okay." So I gave it to him and just brought him back here, and uh, I have it sitting down here, but it's every single book is Star Trek, which everybody's like, they're not worth anything, but I'm like, even if they're not, it's 250 comic books for $70. Like, I'll trade them to somebody, So,
you
but
probably
then,
double that.
Yeah, you do a garage sale for stuff. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, and I was flipping through and just seeing if there were anything I liked, and then in that same thing, I bought a box of toys, and he had a bunch of Burger King, McDonald's toys that were worth nothing, basically. But I kind of just worked it into the deal. I wanted to give the guy an even $100 total, and he had a bunch of cool stuff. And I bought that box, and at the bottom of that box was a stack of like all the original base set Pokemon cards, and the Charizard was in there, the Venusaur was in there, the Blastoise was in there, the holographic cards were in the bottom, and I paid like less than $20 for that box. So,
oh wow, did you grade and sell those?
They're at PSA right now. Yeah, yep,
nice.
They're getting graded right now. So,
what would those go for?
They're probably, I would say the Charizard in the condition they were definitely played with, and they're probably going to come back like 3s and 4s, nothing crazy. But the Charizard's a 200, even in a 3, it's a couple $100 card, $250 card or whatever. Venusaur's probably 100. The other Blastoise probably 100. So I mean, that's $400 for $20 at a garage sale. So
but I mean, PSA is going to get you like $15 a card to grade. So
exactly. So it's not like a grand slam, but just the fact that I found them is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
and it's a fun find and cool story. And yeah.
Definitely. And that's like probably my favorite thing to do is find stuff. Like my grandpa's basement. I just want to find whatever's down there. Like he doesn't have to give it to me. I just want to see what's down there,
I mean, that's again, I haven't looked through all the videos on your channel, but like I think that would be a fun set of videos, is just you cruising through your grandpa's basement. Not even like just walking through and being like, oh, what do we got here and what do we got there? Like, you could do a whole series on that. Would be fun.
And I think I probably will. I'll talk to him about that and maybe do something, because he has, old tools and just really cool stuff. He had a bunch of old books, which he gave me some of those, like cool books, like I don't know. It's just they're just old and cool and like
comic book Dick Tracy
type related, like Red Rider, Dick Tracy, whatever this horror Son of the Phantom. Like, this book on eBay is like almost $100. It's like just sitting down there, It's just wild, but kind of fun, I don't have any intentions of getting rid of that stuff, but and a lot of them, he wrote his name in, and I'll hand them down to my kids, and it'll be really cool. But
yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I love it so far. Everybody's been so nice, other than that one comic shop, but that was
fuck those guys.
Yeah, I just am like out. I'm like, these YouTube guys are awesome. Like Mike's super cool. I probably drive him nuts. He's like, I got stuff going on, but I text him all the time, like, hey, check out the fish I caught, and he's like, cool. Yeah, so
right on.
Before we wrap up, I had one question for you. So whenever Jason Momoa becomes Lobo, will you still will you no longer be an Aquaman fan?
I don't know. I think I just have to stick with him no matter what, mainly through like that's awesome. Game of Thrones, like I'm a Thrones guy, man.
Oh, dude, don't even get me started. That as much as I love, like, that is my favorite,
dude.
Right there, like.
Agreed. Yeah. Have you ever seen the cards for Thrones? Like the collecting? Oh, so cool. Like an Emilia Clarke auto. Like there's just some grails that I'd love to have. But yeah, Thrones is my jam. Lord of the Rings, Yellowstone. I like everything everyone else likes probably, but I need to watch I've seen you have like a channel with Mike, is it on
yeah, Thrones? We just did. Well, it's just like because it was House of the Dragon, the newest season came out, now season 2's over. And it was like in the middle of the summer. JP and I were on a break from our regular weekly interview kind of thing.
Like Ross and
like,
Rachel.
yeah, we were on a break. And so like Mike and I are huge. Like he and I, like for example, like when we all met up at Trivicon, Mike picked me up at the airport. The entire like car ride in, all we talked about was like that kind of, it was Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And so when I was like, hey man, like when season 2, I was like, I just kind of want to mix it up and just do like a weekly review, discuss what happened on the episode. He was like, I'm down, let's do it. And we just did it. Yeah, it was awesome.
I need to watch it.
Yeah, we'll do it again. We are talking about doing it again for the Dunk and Egg series that's going to come out next year. And then obviously the year after that will be season 3. So, you know, I enjoyed it. I mean, again, I always tell them I don't really give a shit if people watch it or not. I just do it because I enjoy it. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna watch it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thrones is sweet. I mean, you got Khal Drogo, bud. Like Momoa's he's got it going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's definitely someone I would like to meet. He seems like a cool dude, and you know, he hasn't played a character I haven't liked yet. So definitely he's like Will Smith. The Rock, I guess you could say, has done a few things that we may not like, but Will Smith always does good movies. Jason Momoa is just a cool dude, you know, no matter what he plays. Like he plays himself, I think, more than anything else. And I think that's, except for in Game of Thrones. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't act like that guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think his Aquaman's pretty damn close to himself, which I think is kind of cool. So
yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So wait, real quick, Tyler, tell everyone you had other channels too. You still have a card channel. Like we can absolutely tag that in the description, but yeah, tell people where to find you and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, for sure. So my YouTube channel is my main one, Pockets Full of Comics. I've been trying to, I really started posting there a lot in the beginning, and then I built an outdoor fireplace at my house, and I kind of took a break, and then now I'm starting to post videos again. That's probably my main spot. And then Instagram, Pockets Full of Comics. If you want to message me and chat comics there, that's a good spot. And then my other channel for cards is Pockets Full of Wax, which I pretty much, that one, I really only go on there if I find like an old pack of 1977 or 76 Star Trek or 77 Star Wars, and I rip those open and talk about those cards and grade those.
Maybe you'll have a Jackie Robinson in a Life magazine episode coming up soon.
I might, and you know, I might find more. Who knows what's down there? So I'm going to keep searching. But yeah, this is probably, Pockets Full of Comics YouTube is probably my main focus here through the winter. And I got a lot of stuff going to CGC. It seems like those videos are really popular. The unboxings, everyone likes to see that.
People like grade reveals for sure.
They really like those. Those probably do the best. But I don't know. I take suggestions for videos too, because like I said, I'm new to comics, and I'm like, what do people want to see? Like, do people even care about like all the Walt Disney books? I don't know. Maybe some people do. Maybe it's worth a video.
Hard to say. If you find them in high grade, people probably do like those ones. The Disney books.
Yeah, that seems to be the thing, is the high grade. And one of the coolest things that I've noticed through this whole collection, though, with the grading coming back, is I'm getting more white page. What do you call that?
The page quality.
Yeah, like I'm getting more of those than not, which is kind of neat.
I mean, that's a testament to how your grandpa stored them.
Yeah, which is wild, because they're like just in bankers boxes in the basement, you know, on shelves, but they just never got touched. They never got pulled out. They were always dark and cool. And
yeah, I would say, and then the climate down there is probably kind of ideal for that kind of thing. So
yeah, I think I got really lucky with them making it as long as they did. I do think I missed a pretty good box, maybe a couple more, but maybe I'll find them. Maybe they're down there. So if I do, I'll show them. But
yeah, love it. Awesome. Well, Tyler, this has been a treat having you on. I'm glad we were finally able to make this happen. And we'll obviously we'll keep talking beyond today, but no, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. It was fun. Anytime you want to do something else, let me know.
Sounds good, man.
Definitely. Remember, always believe in yourself and believe in your grandparents, because you might find comics in their basement.
Well, that's what I'm gonna say. Like, I mean, I lived down in that basement, and I had no idea, you know. And now, like, the last 15 years, like, these are just sitting down there, and I could have checked them out, and I had no clue. But
yeah, I love it.
You never know.
Timing's everything, I guess, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right, everyone. We will see you all in the next unboxing interview. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.
Bye.